Hello there, good afternoon and welcome to Newsbeat here on Metro Television with me, Desmond Okrekodan. So we're coming to you live from the Kuyaboima studios here in Northridge, Accra. We're streaming live on Facebook at Metro TV Ghana and also on DSTV channel 277. Let's take a look at our headlines this afternoon. This afternoon, Sunday service at the Heavenway Church in Weija underway despite police investigations of an alleged double money scam by the leader of the church, Patricia Isiedua, popularly known as Nana Agrada. We'll be talking about that in this bulletin. The government commends the Magdan Group for acquiring cargo planes and sea trade vessels to facilitate trade under the African Continental Free Trade Area. On the international front, at least 12 people have been killed in an overnight Russian missile attack in the Ukrainian city of Zaporizhia in the latest attack that President Volodymyr Zelensky called absolute evil. Let's now settle for the details of the bulletin. And now to our first story, where we begin from the Heavenway Church. And the Ghana Police Service says it has begun investigations into an alleged money doubling scam, which was perpetrated by Patricia Isiedua, popularly known as Nana Agrada. In a Facebook post on Saturday evening, the police said the suspect, who is the leader of the Heavenway Church at Weija, reportedly committed the crime against some members of her congregation. And here are details of the statement. And I reached that the police have commenced investigation into an alleged money doubling scam allegedly perpetrated against some members of the Heavenway Church in Weija. And it says that we would like to urge anyone with information that can assist the investigation to report to the Accra Regional Police Command at Accra Central, close to the Cocoa building. And while investigation continues, we urge everyone, especially those who might have been affected, to remain calm and not take the law into their own hands. Let's just stay on this story as we speak to our Central Regional Correspondent, Akwesi Ado, who's been to the church premises this morning. Akwesi, good afternoon and welcome to Newsbeat.
Good afternoon, Desmond.
Great. When you went to the church premises today, I mean, what really did you find out? Were members of the church in their numbers, as always the case has been?
Okay, Desmond. So, church service at the Heavenway Champion International Ministry, founded by Reverend Dr. Mama Pat, a.k.a. Agrada, began at somewhere around 9 a.m. With some prayers that lasted for about an hour. And the prayers centered on persons who the church leadership thinks are ganging up against the establishment of the very church. And so prayers were said for the welfare of the church and that of the church leader and founder, Reverend Dr. Mama Pat, popularly known as Agrada. I should say that before church service began, I saw some couple of aggrieved persons who have gathered around the church auditorium. But as at now, the founder and leader of the church, Mama Pat, also known as Agrada, is yet to be present here as the church. A while ago, we saw a white 4x4 vehicle approaching towards the church, and then the aggrieved persons marched up to the church, but to their disappointment, the one in the vehicle wasn't the woman. So today she herself isn't present at the church, and the church service is being conducted by an associate pastor, but we still have some old faces or some old members of the church attending service today, but not in their usual numbers. And then we also have some aggrieved persons who believe that they have been scammed by the woman also being around today.
Have any of them spoken about the issue that is making the rounds, about the alleged double money scam?
Okay, so I have spoken to quite a couple of persons here. And what they are telling you that some of them come from as far as Sunyane in the Bono region, and that they followed through to the church as a result of an advertisement that was made by the founder of the church, that he was going to have monies awarded to them when they attend the church service, and that they will be able to use those monies for business purpose. So what she did actually as a church was that she asked persons to make donations, and then she said out of the donations was what she was going to, bequeath to persons some amount of money to establish their businesses. So, for instance, if you sent 200 cedis as offered fee, she said she was going to double it up and then give you somewhere around 10,000 Ghana cedis for your business. So, after taking those offered fee, and then she gave some money to persons who are perceived to be old members and known persons of the church. And then those who came from far or those who are new at the church couldn't get some. So those persons who had visited the church for their first time, but yet made some donations and without getting any amount of money given to them by the founder, got angry, and then they began to, share their frustrations. It has become quite difficult for some of them to even have transport fares back to where they came from.
Okay, so I also want to know if there's been the police around the premises this morning. Have you spotted the police there?
Okay, so I have not spotted uniformed police officers here, but what I've been gathered so far, there is the presence of personnel from the intelligence unit of the police service here, trying to put pieces of information together. So I'm very sure that it forms part of the reasons why Nana Akada or Mama Pat has not been at church today. She may be thinking that she might be picked up when she shows up at the church premises today.
Akwesi Addo for the report there. I will come back to you for more on that. That was our Central Regional Correspondent, Akwesi Addo. And well, just so you know, church service was on today, and he has some excerpts or some sounds from the service. Okay, so those were some sounds from the church service today. Akwesi still on Zoom with us. Akwesi, what did they try to do with that prayer? What was really the theme for that prayer topic, if you had that?
Next one. So the prayer topic mainly focused on some persons who were perceived to have been sent to the church to gather information. Some prayers was also said against leadership of this country who may be ganging up against the establishment of the church. And then some session of at some point of the prayer session also, prayers were said against some other religious leaders who have already established their religious organizations in the country. As the church leadership and members perceived or they believe that some persons are ganging up against the church.
Akwesi, were you able to speak to any of the members in there as to why they are back in church this morning, even though this issue is being investigated by the police?
Okay, I haven't been able to do that yet because, you know, I joined the service quite earlier. As at around 9 a.m. this morning, I was already seated at the church auditorium. And then, you know, once church service begins, it would be quite difficult to get someone spoken to unless church service has ended. And then we were anticipating that the woman herself would be gracing this church service. But you see, as I speak now, we can have in a shot this woman sitting there, and then there's another one also behind. They came from as far as Sunyani in the Bono region. And they had come here purposely because they wanted to get money from Agrada Estate, but they were deceived. And so they are here. And in fact, they are very frustrated because it's become difficult for them, as I mentioned earlier, to even have transport fares back to their destination.
Okay. Thank you very much, Akwesi. And do hold on as we speak to a private legal practitioner, Theophilus Donko, as to what charges can be pressed against Nana Agrada. You're still watching Newsbeat here on Metro Television. We are live on DSTV channel 277 and also on Facebook at Metro TV Ghana. And we'll see if we could speak to the private legal practitioner, Theophilus Donko, for someone. Good afternoon, Theophilus Donko, and thank you for joining us here on Newsbeat. Now, what are the charges that could be leveled against Nana Agrada if she's arrested?
Before I tell you the charges, can I give you the elements of the charges so that those who are listening to us will understand?
Definitely, you can go on.
Okay. So the law is that when you make a representation to somebody, and in the making of that representation, you know at the time of making that representation is false. And the person you are making the representation to believes in that representation and part away with a property or anything, then you can be charged with defrauding by false pretense. So if you ask me, on the face of it, Nana Agrada or whatever you call her, can be charged with the offense of defrauding by false pretense.
Now, with this particular issue, do you think that the people who are saying that they have been defrauded should go to the police station to lodge an official complaint to the police so that investigations proper would begin, or that could help in the investigation process?
I think that it is behold on every citizen that when you feel that the crime is committed against you, you go to the nearest police station and make a report. So I believe that those people must be encouraged to go and make report at the police station so that the police station can really have evidence. The police can have evidence of the persons that they have defrauded. Because as we speak now, the police start their investigation. Who are they going to talk to? Agrada can decide to come to the police station and say that I want to remain silent throughout, even when she goes to court as an accused person. So the people who have been defrauded should not only be on social media or should not complain and put it on social media. They must go ahead and make a complaint to the police so that the police, based on that complaint, can trigger the investigation that is required. So I will encourage and entreat everybody who feels that whatever Nana Agrada told them, she did not live by it, to go to the police station and make a complaint.
Okay, now per the law, if she's found guilty, how long would she be serving in prison?
To up to a maximum of 25 years for defrauding.
25 years.
Yes, please.
Great. Now, this is not the first time that we are seeing things like this. We have other, fetish people on TV trying to double money and doing all of these scams. Why do you think that it has become difficult for us to crack the whip on them?
I think that the victims have relaxed a little bit. And the police also, I think, in the midst of the fact that you cannot prosecute somebody based on spiritual matters. I think it is based on that the police have not been able to prosecute. And it is becoming a worry to a lot of people. When you talk to people privately, you realize that issue of defrauding have not been handled with the speed or with the alacrity that it needs. So fraud is fostering because we are not seeing a lot of prosecution, we are not seeing a lot of conviction. That is why other people will come to on radio and begin to say that I will double your money for you. If you look at the Banking and Specialized Deposit Taking Institution Act, it is only those who have been licensed by Bank of Ghana that can ask you to bring money that I'll give you an interest. Or when you give me so amount, within this period, I'll give you this amount. It is only those people. So if you are not even licensed, you cannot invite people to come and invest a certain amount of money and you increase or multiply it for them. So under that law itself, the law can catch up on them. Under the Specialized Banking and Specialized Taking Institution Act. So all these things they are doing, even apart from the fact of defrauding, the law under that act can still take them up and convict them and sentence them into prison custody. So I think that the institution that be, both the Attorney General and the police, and then I will add IYOCO to it, have not acted swiftly. And then I believe that in doing adverts, I think that there's also another body that regulates the adverts that can be done on TV. All these people are sitting down aloof. So I think that as a lawyer, I'll recommend that the institution that be must act quickly. And we must see a lot of prosecution in this regard. Okay. Look at the issue of NAM1. Since 2017, not even a single witness has entered the bus to testify. So don't you think that I'll also be emboldened to also go ahead and do such an activity, knowing that the court will not act or the police will not act swiftly? So I think that the institutions that have been empowered by law have not been acting in that regard. Okay. That is why people have been emboldened to continue their act publicly. People are doing it not in their closets, but they are doing it openly. So I think that the IGP, as he has been acting swiftly in other matters, to also act swiftly in these matters.
Great. Thank you very much, Theophilus Donkor, for speaking to us. And he's a private legal practitioner. And we'll stay on that story and keep our eyes on there and give you all the updates as and when they come. You're still watching Newsbeat here. Now let's do some of the stories. And as Ghana struggles with the fight of Galamsey, which is on a daily basis destroying our forest reserves and water bodies, some chiefs have said that the talk shop by the stakeholders must stop and resort to aggressively tackle the menace. Now, the head of the Adekpa family, Daniel Nitego, has called on the president to do more to stop the menace. With modern equipment, the activities of illegal mining known as Galamsey has destroyed vast lands, including forest reserves, and polluted Ghana's water bodies. Rivers and streams in many parts of the country have increasingly become turbid. The destruction of arable lands is at an all-time high, accompanied with the destruction of the ozone layer due to deforestation. Speaking on the menace, head of Adekpa, Daniel Nitego, called on the president to step up his efforts against the menace.
If this country, things goes well, we'll credit the president. And if things does not go well, we'll also blame the president. Because he's the one we have put our trust in. That's why we have voted for him. And we think where this Galamsey menace is heading towards, the president must go beyond the talk and act. If we don't look at the national interest, one day, the youth will rise and they'll ask us questions. I'm pleading with the president. He has the executive powers. It's about time he called the shots. The talking point is over. Let us now act.
He also expressed worry over the alleged importation of drinking water into the country.
God has blessed this country with everything called blessing. If we have managed all these resources that God has blessed this country well, we will not be importing water. It's a big shame. Looking at what the havoc the Galamsey issue is causing us, if care is not taken, then it will get to a time even water that we even drink or the water that we even use will become a problem. For how long are we going to import? We struggle to get oil. We queue, cars queue. If we don't take care, very soon we'll start queuing for water because the country cannot supply. potable and hygienic water, because Galamsey have destroyed all our water bodies. Is that the country we want to build?
He called on the chiefs who are custodians of the lands to be resolute in the fight against Galamsey. And let's do some politics. So the quarters of the NDC and a former Deputy Minister for Works and Housing under the Esau Mahama administration, Samuel Yao Edusei, has called for an overhaul of the leadership of the party. Now, Samuel Yao Edusei, who is now seeking to contest the national chairmanship position of the party, admits the NDC has a lot to do to win back power in 2024. There's more in the following report by Ashanti Regional Correspondent Abdul Basit Suleiman.
The Opposition National Democratic Congress has set December 17 as the date to conduct its internal elections to elect executives from constituency, regional and national levels. Several individuals have declared their intentions to contest for various positions in the party. The latest among them is the Deputy Ashanti Regional Minister, Samuel Yao Edusei, who is optimistic about the NDC's victory in 2024 general elections. Addressing a press conference in Kumasi, Samuel Edusei explained that the party now needs a new face to lead it into the 2024 elections. He stated that the country is currently facing extreme hardship under the MPP government. Hence, the need for the NDC to win back power in 2024 to save Ghanaians.
Of the party, that the chairman he worked with, the person he has known over the years, does not deserve to get another term. The chairman, on the other hand, that's the incumbent chairman, on the other hand, has known this general secretary for almost 2 decades. He has worked with him as general secretary. And he is also telling us that this, my general secretary that I've worked with, does not deserve to move up to occupy the position I am occupying now. Who are we to doubt these two experienced politicians? They are telling the members of National Democratic Congress a message that there should be a new face and that they have no confidence in each other. That's the communication to the party, that they have no confidence in each other to occupy such a position.
He also reiterated the need for the party to elect executives who are fearless, committed, and loyal to spearhead the affairs of the party from branch through to regional and national levels.
And we're taking our first break. Please stay with us. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back from the break. Now, the project manager for Cities and Habitats is urging government to collaborate with the private sector in the real estate industry to help address the huge housing gap in the country. Daniel Ohene-Edu believes innovation and strategic management will help chart a way forward for the industry. Ghana Statistical Service estimates that the country's housing deficit over the last 50 years continually witnessed an upward trend from 1 million to 2.8 million between 1950 and 2010. However, the 2021 Ghana Population and Housing Census on Structures, Housing Conditions and Facilities from the service showed a reversal in the housing deficit by 33%. This, according to the GSS, points to possibly some of the interventions that are happening at the governmental and the private sector levels. The rent-to-own WAFO, which is a home ownership package introduced by Cities and Habitats in collaboration with EcoBank Ghana, is to relieve the burdens of Ghanaians and give more opportunities to all. Daniel Ohene-Edu is manager for the project.
Basically, it's going to help people, and many people, for that matter, to own or access their houses, much earlier. So you want to do the rent to own, the monthly payments, but you want your house early because, you are very tight. It's not funding, I think, in my opinion. It's about the pricing and it's about strategy. If government gets this right, a lot of things will change, for the better. We can be able to do this or bridge the housing gap in the shortest time, possible.
The initiative, which will make many people who hitherto could not afford their own homes, do so.
One of the things that we try to do is to ensure that we meet the needs of our customers. And obviously, housing is a big need. And in any way that we can help, we are happy to do so. As you well know, we have several other options. And for us, this is an additional option that our customers can then use to acquire their own homes.
Currently, the gap stands at 1.8 million, and government has laid out a few more interventions to further bridge it. Now, the registrar of the Scholarship Secretariat, Kingsley Agyeman, has charged Ghanaian students to persevere and keep their hopes alive in all situations. He made this call at his time with Kingsley series at the Boakwa State College in the Boakwa South Municipality of the Eastern Region.
The time with Kingsley series under the auspices of the Registrar of the Scholarship Secretariat, Kingsley Agyeman made its maiden stop at the Boakwa State College in the Boakwa South Municipality of the Eastern Region. The initiative is a coaching and mentoring program for SHS students as part of efforts to guide them to make the right career choices. Speaking at the event, the head of the Scholarship Secretariat, Kingsley Agyeman, urged the students to persevere in order to surmount any obstacle that may impede their growth.
The mind is the central point of everything. If your mind says to you, sleep, when you are supposed to wake up to learn, you will sleep. Competition is very key. If you don't learn to compete in class, and you grow up to become a politician, you may think everybody is your enemy, because you will fear competition.
Kwabena Ampofo-Appiah is the Chief Executive Officer of State Housing Company.
If you see opportunities, go for it. Sometimes you'll have, naysayers asking you that, no, this is something that is beyond you. Sometimes they'll even tell you it is beyond human possibilities.
The initiators have vowed to take the time with Kingsley series to all SHS schools in the Boakwa South Municipality before the end of the academic year.
Now, as part of measures to provide skills and make young people employable, the SOS Children's Village Netherlands has collaborated with their Ghanaian counterparts to train the youth in the Ashanti region. Here's more in the story.
The SOS Children Village Netherlands and the SOS Children Village Ghana have jointly launched a new project dubbed No Business as Usual Youth Employment Center in Kumasi to equip some 400 young persons with employable skills. The two-year project is the phase 2 of No Business as Usual Social Intervention Program aimed at contributing to improving inclusive employability skills for the disadvantaged young persons to improve their income and livelihoods. Launching the project at Sawaba in the Asokore-Mampong municipality of the Ashanti region, the program's director for SOS Children Village Ghana, Bernard Amwako, noted that the project targets all categories of young people within the age bracket of 35 years who have little or no educational background, as well as SHS graduates.
The general objective of the NVU Youth Empowerment Center is to contribute to improving its inclusive employability for disadvantaged young people in Kumasi. This means that active participation in the activities of NVU YEC will result in at least 400 disadvantaged young people making positive life choices and taking action to change their lives and having improved income and livelihoods.
Marjon Duran is the SOS Children Village Netherlands Portfolio Coordinator for Ghana and Guinea-Bissau.
We're being here and we're very relieved and pleased and grateful that we are able to continue the NVU in the second phase. We will continue empowering the youth, providing them with what we call core basic life skills. And then also once the youth knows what path they would like to.
On his part, the Municipal Chief Executive Officer of the Asokore-Mampong, Kennedy Kankam, urged the youth to take advantage of the program.
This was as a result of collaboration between civil society organizations Asokore-Mampong Municipal Assembly and stakeholders, which achieved the following results. 130 network events with more than 12,000 participants. 680 young people completed the work and entrepreneurship courses, of which 200 have found a job and 284 have set up their own businesses.
Now, over 300 personnel drawn from 5 municipalities in the Greater Accra region have been trained in data collection for a fieldwork to provide insights and recommendations in the development and implementation of environmental solutions in Ghana and beyond. The training was organized by the African Environmental and Sanitation Consult.
Africa Environmental and Sanitation Consult, AEFES, is a limited liability firm that provides sustainable environmental solutions and consulting services by undertaking a broad spectrum of research and training to develop viable solutions for private and public organizations in the environmental sector and beyond. The training of over 300 personnel is to collect information on how households manage waste in order to curb the sanitation challenges in Accra. Benoni Accra and Nathaniel Ado are respective leads for the training sections in the Ayawaso Central and Ladadekotopon municipalities.
The whole exercise is about data collection, and we are collecting data on sanitation. The data is needed for decision making. Actually, sanitation in Accra is a challenge, and I think it's in the right direction to collect data, identify the challenges, and then the right policies will be made.
We are giving them the requisite knowledge to actually go to gather various information from the field. This information into various stages, which will actually be sent to the effects who are actually in charge of this program. So they will actually use this data to see the loopholes that are available and also see the issues whereby they need much attention.
The project lead for Korle Klote Municipality, Adelina Adolenyake, on their part, urged households to provide the participants with the necessary information they may need.
I will advise every household to open up to every participant that will come to them as an interviewer, to interview them to gain information. They should be reliable and then give them all the necessary information they need to know. They shouldn't hide anything. And we have all swear an oath to be under oath, that is what? Confidentiality, without releasing any information taken from them.
Some of the other district leads shared their views with Metro News.
Since climate change is fast catching up into us, we need to manage our sanitation properly so that we won't get affected so much. Because anytime there's a downpour in Accra here, we have flooding because people drop waste indiscriminately to gutters instead of the proper way of disposal.
Advice for the trainees is they should make sure they get or they give us quality data. They shouldn't think of the remuneration that is going to be given to them alone, but then they should give their best to collect quality data. In the absence of quality data, we won't be able to, do what I refer to as the mitigating our poor waste management staff in the country.
The training, which started on October 6th, ends October 8, 2022. The fieldwork will, however, commence on 12 October and end on 28 October 2022. Reporting for Metro News, Rosemary Anyingba, Accra.
Breast Cancer Awareness Month is proudly brought to you by Reflux Sanitary Pad and Baby Pull-Up Diaper and Give Us Floor and WC Cleaners.
And it's now time for us to take a look at our breast cancer tip for today.
During your cancer treatment, you will need to consider the different kinds of liquids that you may use for nourishment to quench your thirst or settle your stomach, and they could be clear fluids or full liquids. Together, we can.
And of course, in the month of October, the Breast Cancer Awareness Month, us here at Metro Television, we're making sure that we push the agenda so that we can all take and help beat the disease. We're taking a break. We'll be back shortly with some more stories. Please do stay. Let's now do some business news. And the Minister of Trade and Industry, Alan Kojo Kyerematen, has commended the Magdan Group for acquiring cargo planes and sea trade vessels to facilitate trade under the African Continental Free Trade Area. He urged other African businessmen to follow suit to improve intra-African trade amongst member nations. Here's more in the following report.
It's been 2 years since 55 countries signed onto the African Continental Free Trade Area, which presents a major opportunity for African countries to bring 30 million people out of extreme poverty and to raise the income of 68 million others. As part of efforts to ensure the realization of the initiative, the Magdan Group has signed an MOU with the AFCFTA Secretariat, which will see the acquisition of some cargo planes and sea trade vessels to facilitate trade among African countries. Trade and Industry Minister Alan Kyerematen commended the Chief Executive Officer of the Magdan Group, Dr. Daniel Macaulay, for taking the initiative to support AFCFTA.
Tonight, we are able to celebrate what has been described as commercially meaningful trading between our countries. For us to celebrate one entrepreneur in Ghana, who is the owner of this facility that we are using for this commercially guided trading, Magdan Enterprise, who is now signing an agreement tonight with the AFCFTA, investing in cargo planes and a sea freight vessel specifically to support the trading under AFCFTA.
Secretary General of the AFCFTA, Wamkele Mene, encouraged Africans to support small and medium-scale enterprises to lift many Africans out of poverty by 2030.
This phase that we're in, this pilot phase of connecting and linking the liberalization of goods with the movement of these goods, the same goods, is critical from a logistics point of view. And so we will invite other logistics companies around the African continent to join this initiative. But I want to congratulate and thank the CEO of Magdan Aviation, Mr. Daniel Macaulay, for having the vision to step up and to say, what is it that I can do as an African company to advance the objectives of the AFCFTA.
The Akufo-Addo-led administration says this is a signal that governments of Africa are giving way to the private sector to make AFCFTA a reality in terms of implementation, adding that institutions in Africa are up to the task.
Now, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta says government's ability to mobilize more revenue and control expenditure will be a key consideration to reaching a deal with the IMF. Ghana's Chief Finance Officer, together with top management of the Ghana Revenue Authority, visited the country's port in Tema to assess revenue levels there.
The finance minister, in the company of the board chairman and commissioner general and other top management of the Ghana Revenue Authority, first engaged customs officers at the port. According to the Tema sector commander Julius Kantum, Tema accounts for nearly 78% of customs revenue and 29% total GRA revenue, and this puts a huge responsibility on officers to raise the needed revenue for the country.
We're going to get a modern loading system that will give us the cargo tonnage just on the spot. But the equipment are arriving maybe by the end of somewhere next week. We're hoping that by next month they will be installed and training will go on. So by December we should do a test run, and we're hoping that all these weighing problems and the rest for the bulk cargo will be at the pass by December.
The Commissioner General, Reverend Dr. Mishadai Owusu, said his outfit is targeting to raise 20 million cedis in revenue. The Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, congratulated the customs officers for their efforts so far and entreated them to step up to increase revenue mobilization.
Looking at the scanning, to see whether it is whether the improvements. We talked about the weighing bridges, to create much more efficiency. We talked about why the preventive people are doing so much work, which means therefore the examinations may not be working as well as they should. So identify, weak points, but at the same time acknowledge the type of good work that has occurred in September.
The minister and his entourage also visited the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority and interacted with the management of the port. The discussions centered on weighing instruments at the port and the need to draw more tonnage to the port and strictly comply with no revenue, no exit policy. The Director General of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Michael Luguje, said the port is committed to ensuring that there are no revenue leakages and that the right weighing instruments are used.
We are looking at that whole, having participated in the committee that drafted the implementation modalities. We are assessing them, and I think in the course of next week we'll be presenting some information to you to help in the way forward in this decision. The issue about the way bridges, I think we will need some advice from GRA, because we earlier on Ghana Ports had installed some way bridges mainly for axle load purposes, mainly.
Now, the Director of Operations at Dalex Finance, Joe Jackson, has indicated Ghana's economic situation is likely to affect depositors' money at the banks due to the inability of government to pay its debt. This comes on the back of predictions by the World Bank that Ghana's debt to GDP will hit 104% by the end of 2022.
What has been mooted is that those who if you have debt, there will be potentially up to a 30% cut. So if you took 10,000 cedis, the government will say, okay, I'll give you 7,000
cedis.
Let's take it. We are in trouble. But let's share in the pain.
Right.
Yes. Now that is how it's going to affect, number one, the banks. Because our banks took depositors' money and then went ahead and lent that money to the government. It was good business. So they did that. Now, so if you're a bank and you're facing a potential cut in, you have assets and the access are putting a potential cut of up to 30%, then you should be worried. The next are the pension funds. You've just expressed how dire the situation is.
True.
You've expressed how we are unable to pay. Now, let me give you an idea of where this 30% is coming from.
Okay.
If you bought Eurobonds, Ghana Eurobonds.
And that's how we end the business news here on Newsbeat. It's time for sport. And in sports, bad news for Accra Hearts of Oak, as yesterday the Ghanaian football giants lost by 3-0 to Malian side AS Real de Bamako in Mali in the second round of the CAF Confederations Cup. Now Hearts will host the Malian side next week in the second leg of that particular tie. And well, we hope that Hearts of Oak will be able to turn things around in the next leg. And we've got our sports correspondent, one of our journalists here, Michael Kofi-Oduro, joining us for some more details on this. Michael, good afternoon. Thank you. It's another day in Africa for Hearts of Oak and 3-0 loss in Mali. What do you make of that?
Bad results, not just for Accra Hearts of Oak, but for Ghana football in general. Because Hearts of Oak are representatives of Ghana local game or the local league in the CAF Confederations Cup. And Kumasi Asante Kotoko, who won the league last season and played in the CAF Champions League preliminary stages, got exited at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium in the very first round of the qualifying stages of the CAF Champions League. And for Hearts of Oak to also suffer the 3-0 drubbing tells the strength and the quality of our league. and raises a lot of doubts when it comes to the quality of the league and then the strength. So it's not just a big blow for Accra Hearts of Oak, but for Ghana football in general, especially the consumers of the local game. But for me, it was to be expected because the Phobians have not performed well. Even in the season where they won the league and represented in the Champions League, we saw how they were humbled by sides from Morocco, from Algeria in the qualifying stages, and they never got to the group stages. Now, this is an Accra Hearts of Oak team that won the FA Cup, yes, but you win the FA Cup playing how many matches? In the Ghana Premier League, over 2 seasons, the Phobians have, in their last 8 games, have not won a single match. They have not won a single match in their last 8 games. But what gave us some amount of hope was the fact that they had quite a number of experienced players, especially those that were in the camp of the local Black Stars. You talk of Efriye Banye, you talk of Mohamed Alassane, who comes in with lots of quality and experience. Samuel Inkum has seen it all when it comes to national team football, club football on the African continent, and even football outside of this continent. And so we thought that the Phobians were going to be able to count on the quality of these players and squeeze some results from the game in Bamako. But unfortunately, it won't happen that way, because when you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. Michael, and for me, yes.
I was going to ask if you think that Hearts of Oak will be able to do some magic in the second leg in Accra.
It is possible. This is football. It's a game full of uncertainties, and so we can continue to hope. But the reality is that I do not think that Hearts of Oak have got the magic to turn things around. Like I said earlier, this is a team that has not won a single game in the last 8 league matches, spanning over 2 seasons. This is a team that 2 weeks to their African campaign decides to dissolve its technical team. 2 weeks to your African campaign, you dissolve your technical team, and then you don't even have a plan to replacing the men you are sacking. And so Hearts of Oak went to the game in Bamako with 3 technical men. They had an assistant coach. David Oklu, they've named as a substantive assistant coach, but as a stopgap coach. And then they have a goalkeeper's trainer and an assistant goalkeeper's trainer. I've not seen any serious club line up a technical team and name someone as an assistant goalkeeper's trainer. That is not to say that it's a wrong move, but for me, Hearts of Oak have got a very weak technical team. It's a technical team that does not even know the players of the club. So how were they going to be able to put these guys together in less than 1 week, go to Bamako, and get the necessary results that will put them in a position to outwit their Malian counterparts and pick up the spot for the next round? Right, the Phobians were just not ready for this campaign.
Okay, thank you very much, Michael. He is a sports journalist here at Metro Television, and Asante Kotoko were also eliminated by Kadiego some weeks back. Well, we hope that the teams will come good next year. That's it for sports. Up next is entertainment news. Now, Youth Bridge Foundation, a youth development organization, has launched an all-inclusive movie to tackle issues of concern to the youth and also tell the story of the impact of COVID-19. Present at the launch of the movie were officials of Youth Bridge Foundation, producers of the movie JSE Productions, cast members and the press. The movie, according to the Senior Programs Officer at Youth Bridge Foundation, Joyce Nyame, seeks to show from the cultural lens how COVID-19 affected Ghana, especially the youth.
We just did some research on how COVID had impacted on our social and economic lives, and we decided to do a movie this time. And the movie is titled The Wildfire. So there's this, we enacted how COVID impacted on our lives. And then you see the African culture. So if you listen to the story, we are just trying to tell a story.
Lead actor in the Wildfire movie, Ajit Anand, speaking to the press, explained why he accepted to be part of the production and the role he played in the movie.
Wildfire it's not your everyday kind of movie. It's a movie that factors in all groups of all individuals out there that we normally would not consider in our storytelling. And so, for example, we're looking at the visually impaired. We're looking at other people who are challenged, physically, who are challenged because of just by no fault of theirs. But my role, I was a lawyer. I remember I was a lawyer who comes in to take. I hope I'm not giving too much away, but I represent the folks who really, because of their status, would take advantage of a situation and leave somebody, very sad or not having been able to attain their dreams.
Wildfire is set to be premiered on October 21 at the Alliance Francaise and features Ajay Tianan, Martha Kuma, Caliboys and several others. The movie also features a sign language interpreter to communicate to others who may have the disability of hearing or speaking.
Philip, are you okay? Are you okay? Hey guys, move away from me. He has the virus.
And that's all for entertainment. Up next, the latest updates on the international front.
At least 12 people have been killed in an overnight Russian missile attack in the Ukrainian city of Zaporizhia, as President Zelensky described the attacks as absolute evil. Zelensky and regional officials provided a death toll of 12, adding that more victims may be under the rubble as a search and rescue operations has been launched. Earlier, Secretary of Zaporizhia City Council said 17 people were killed in the attack and at least 20 houses and about 50 multi-story buildings damaged. Police in the Gambia have started investigations into the death of 66 children, which have been linked to 4 brands of imported cough syrup. President Adama Barrow said that the authorities will leave no stone unturned in the investigations. The products were manufactured by an Indian company, Maiden Pharmaceuticals, which had failed to provide guarantee about their safety according to the World Health Organization. Somalia's government has declared a crackdown on media organizations that publish what it deems propaganda for the armed group Al-Shabaab, warning offenders will be punished. The armed forces, backed by local militias and international allies, have waged an aggressive campaign against the Al-Qaeda-linked group. In August, Al-Shabaab fighters unleashed a gun and bomb assault in a deadly 30-hour siege of a hotel that killed 21 people.
And that's how I wrap up the bulletin this afternoon. Many thanks for watching. I am Desmond Okrekudanso. We came to you live from the Equiaboyama Studios here in our North Ridge complex in Accra. We'll be back at 7 p.m. with news. Now, do enjoy the rest